Hi everybody, it's Miss Penelope and I found a great book. I've had it for a really long time and I've read it to lots and lots of little friends, and I thought that it might be fun to read it to you. The story is a little bit silly, but it's got lots of different kinds of love in it, and I think that you might like it too. So here we go. It's called Bear and Roly-Poly by Elizabeth Winthrop, illustrated by Patience Brewster. That means she drew the pictures. Bear and Roly-Poly. One day, Nora said to Bear, "I'm going over to Grandma's house. She is giving us a present." "Goody, goody, goody," said Bear. "What is it?" "A new baby sister," said Nora. "A baby sister?" "Yes," said Nora, and she gave Bear a big, fat hug and an extra squeeze. "Here comes Mrs. Duck. She'll take care of you while I'm gone." There's Nora, and there's Bear, and there's Mrs. Duck. "Nora is going to Grandma's house to get my baby sister," Bear told Mrs. Duck. "Yes, I know," said Mrs. Duck. "Your baby sister is very lucky to have a big brother like you." "I'm going to take really good care of her," said Bear. And all afternoon, Bear practiced being a big brother. He rocked his doll in the rocking chair. He gave her a bath in the sink. He poured milk into his old baby bottle and fed it to her. And he patted her on the back to make her burp. What a good brother. Finally, Nora came home. She carried the new baby right into Bear's room. Bear stared. Mrs. Duck stared too. Nobody said anything for a minute. Then Mrs. Duck said, "Oh my." And Nora said, "Bear, this is Roly-Poly. She's your new baby sister." "She's not a baby," said Bear. "She's almost as big as Mrs. Duck. And she is not brown like me." "Babies come in all shapes, colors, and sizes," said Nora. "Oh," said Bear. "Well, can I hold her?" "Sit in the rocking chair," said Nora, and she rested Roly-Poly in his lap. She's a very heavy baby," Bear gasped. Roly-Poly opened her eyes and looked at Bear. "Hello," said Bear. "I'm your big brother." Roly-Poly opened her mouth and began to cry. Nora lifted the baby off Bear's lap and rocked her. Oh dear, she does look upset. "She doesn't like me," Bear said. "She's going to love you," said Nora. "Everything is new and strange to her right now," Mrs. Duck said. "Come on, let's make her bed." So Bear helped make Roly-Poly's bed, and then he poured milk into her bottle, and Mrs. Duck heated it up. "I have to go home now," said Mrs. Duck. She gave the bottle to Nora. "Will you be all right?" "I have Bear to help me," said Nora. "Can I feed Roly-Poly?" Bear asked. "Of course," said Nora. Nora held the enormous baby in her lap, and Bear stood on a chair. He put the bottle in the baby's mouth, and Roly-Poly sucked and sucked, and when the milk was all gone, she stared at Bear, and he stared back. "You have soft fur," he said. "Oh." And then Roly-Poly closed her eyes and began to cry. "She needs to be burped," Nora yelled above the noise. She propped Roly-Poly up on her shoulder, and Bear stood on a stool and patted the baby on the back. "I think you're going to have to pat a little harder," cried Nora. So Bear pounded Roly-Poly between the shoulder blades, and suddenly a great, big, noisy came rolling up out of her stomach. "Good job," said Nora. "I'm tired," said Bear as he climbed down from the stool. "Babies are hard work." "They certainly are," said Nora. Ugh, Bear's tired. A few days later, Mrs. Duck came to babysit while Nora went to the store. And as soon as Nora left, Roly-Poly started to cry. Mrs. Duck picked her up and carried her around, but Roly-Poly would not stop crying. Mrs. Duck tried to feed her, but she wasn't hungry. Mrs. Duck tried to burp her, but she didn't need to be burped. Roly-Poly just went right on crying. Oh dear. Ooh, does anybody see what's going on with Bear over here? He looks like he's maybe drawing some pictures. Can you see the picture? What does he look like he's drawing? Maybe might be Roly-Poly kind of crying. Maybe screaming a little loud. I don't know. Let's see. Bear climbed into his rocking chair and looked at his books. "Babies aren't much fun," he said. "They cry a lot." Maybe you could sing to her," said Mrs. Duck. I don't think so," Bear said. "She doesn't like me." "Please try, Bear," said Mrs. Duck. Does Mrs. Duck look like she's really needing some help? I think she does. Roly-Poly looks a little upset. So Bear opened his mouth and sang a song about 3 bears in the bathtub. He sang very loud, and Roly-Poly stopped crying for a moment. She looked around the room. "I think it's working." "Bear," Mrs. Duck whispered to him, "come over here so she can see you." Bear stood right in front of Roly-Poly, and he sang his song again. And Roly-Poly smiled a big smile, and she began to squirm. Oh, she's getting a little squirmy. "She wants you to hold her," said Mrs. Duck. "She's too heavy," Bear said. She squishes me. "But I can sit beside her." Mrs. Duck propped Roly-Poly up next to him, and Bear tickled Roly-Poly on the tummy, and his baby sister laughed. Bear told Roly-Poly a story, and she listened. "Now what?" said Mrs. Duck. "She doesn't look very sleepy." "Let's give her a bath," said Bear. So Bear and Mrs. Duck lifted Roly-Poly into the bathtub. Roly-Poly let Mrs. Duck hold her, but she wanted Bear to push the toy boat to her, and she wanted Bear to dry her off with a towel, and she wanted Bear to tuck her into bed and sing her to sleep. Suddenly, the front door banged open and Nora came into the room. "I'm home," Nora said. "Shh," said Bear. "How did you get her to sleep?" said Nora. "Bear did," said Mrs. Duck. "Roly-Poly's lucky to have a big brother like you," said Nora. Look at Bear. Does he look really happy? I think he's very proud of what he's done. He has loved her well. Bear smiled. "I want to be near her when she wakes up." So he pushed his bed next to Roly-Poly's, and he leaned over and gave his baby sister a tiny kiss. "Good night," he whispered, and then he climbed into bed and closed his eyes. And look, can you see they're both smiling? And look, Bear's holding her hand. It's so sweet. Oh, I love that book. Did you see all the different times when love was shown? We saw Nora get excited and love Bear and tell him about getting a baby sister and him being a big brother. And we saw Bear get excited about having a baby sister. Then we saw him practice being a big brother. And we saw Mrs. Duck taking care of Bear. And we saw Mrs. Duck taking care of Roly-Poly later. We even saw Mrs. Duck ask if she could help Nora. And that's taking care and showing love too. And then we saw Bear be worried because he didn't think that Roly-Poly, his sister, liked him. And so then he kind of went to himself. But then Mrs. Duck helped him to see that Roly-Poly did like him and that she did need him. And did Bear give up? Did he say, no, I don't want to, it's too hard? No, he loved her. And he sang to her. And he helped her with bath time. And he helped her with the bottle. And he helped to burp her. He helped to tell her a story. And then he helped to tuck her in. He was a good brother. And sometimes being a brother or a sister is really hard. But remember that God gives us our brothers and our sisters as special gifts. He knows who we are and what we need. And just like how he is always there to love us, we need to love our brothers and sisters too, even when it's hard. Remember to look through your heart, everybody, and see love. Remember that Miss Penelope loves you all. Mwah. Thank you for listening to my story. I'll see you later. Bye.